ensure that their children will grow up in a culture of peace and coexistence. All our actions today are directed towards building a harmonious nation where discrimination will not be tolerated. As a people, we are thankful to the Commonwealth for the continuous support member nations extended to us and for the understanding you showed at a time of need. My country is proud of its history, its people, and its tradition of constitutional democracy. Dear friends, while in Sri Lanka, may I humbly invite you to savor the natural beauty and the splendor of our motherland and to engage with our people, among the most hospitable people you will find anywhere in the world. Ensuring a relevant Commonwealth for the future is the theme of this meeting. During these few days, you will discuss topics relating to health and education, democracy, rule of law and human rights, the role of parliament, conflict resolution and peace building, gender-responsive governance, terrorism, youth unemployment, and the role of social media. All these topics are of great relevance to democracies around the world, and no doubt your deliberation will strengthen constitutional democracy and good governance in the CPA's member states. The CPA is currently engaged in a study to look at how the association could provide better support to parliaments from member states. Our branch has expressed its views through our regional representative, and we are concerned to ensure that the CPA remains vibrant and relevant in the years to come. Before I conclude, I would like to express my profound gratitude to His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa, President of Sri Lanka, for the support, guidance, and encouragement extended to us in organizing this event. And your presence this morning has encouraged all of us. I must also acknowledge the support we have received from the Right Honorable Sir Alan Hazelhurst, Chairman of the Executive Committee of the CPA, Dr. William F. Shija, Secretary General of the CPA, and from the staff of the CPA headquarters. May you have a rewarding meeting. May you forge strong bonds among your fellow parliamentarians. And may your deliberations contribute to strengthening democracy in all parts of the Commonwealth. I do hope that you will carry warm memories of Sri Lanka to your home country. Distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, it is my privilege and great pleasure now to call upon His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa, President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, to formally declare open the 58th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference. May the Noble Triple Gem bless you.
Now, I declare 58th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference open.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, Right Honourable Sir Alan Hazelhurst is from the United Kingdom. He is a Member of Parliament and the Chairperson of the Executive Committee of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. His political career includes from 1970 to 74 MP for Middleton and Prestwich, 1970 Member of Parliament Saffron Walden, Deputy Speaker, and 2010 Chair and Executive Committee of CPA UK branch in 2011. We now invite Right Honourable Sir Alan Hazelhurst to address the gathering.
Your Excellency, President Mahinda Rajapaksa, Vice Patron of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, the Honourable Speaker Shamal Rajapaksa, the Speaker of the Sri Lankan Parliament and President of the CPA, the Commonwealth Secretary-General, the Honourable Kamalesh Sharma, Vice President of the CPA, the Honourable Johannes Mahlangu, officers of the CPA, the Secretary-General, Dr. Shija, members of the Executive Committee, parliamentarians, clerks, members of the Diplomatic Corps, and other distinguished guests. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that is a comprehensive and correct introduction. It is a very great honor and privilege for me, as the elected chairperson of the Executive Committee, to stand here today on behalf of the entire CPA to thank, first of all, you, Mr. Speaker, for introducing the proceedings, to you, Mr. President, for declaring formally open our 58th conference, and indeed for being here, gracing us with your presence on this occasion, and to say to you and to all your colleagues how grateful we are for your country's willingness to host the 58th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference in Colombo. Stuti. "2012 has been quite a year, distinguished perhaps in the minds of many by the Olympic Games and the Paralympic Games. Who could not recall the achievements of Usain Bolt and the Jamaican trio, Stephen Kiprotich, who won astonishingly the marathon, Oscar Pistorius, and the news that Sri Lanka got their first bronze medal in the Paralympic Games. The spread of success was terrific, and we hope that it is a legacy for young people throughout the Commonwealth. And then there is another major event here in Sri Lanka. But before the T20 Cricket World Cup takes place, we have this important gathering. I don't know whether other visitors became confused by the profusion of signs advertising both the CPA conference and the T20 World Cup. But I suspect it gives a hint that the hearts and minds of your citizens may be more easily captured by the cricket than by the proceedings of our conference. Although I must say, despite that, I am astonished by the amount of coverage we have had in the press, and I don't think I've ever had such front-page attention in the newspapers here than I've ever achieved in 35 years back home. Those who are able to see most clearly, whether with the aid of iPads or anything, may notice that I am wearing a tie which was given to me of the Scottish Parliament. And I wear that today because I woke up to Andy Murray winning his first ever Grand Slam. However, what I really hope is that the hearts and minds of delegates here at this conference will be captured first by the warmth of the greeting we have received by our Sri Lankan hosts and the challenges facing all of us in democratic politics. Serendipity is a rather beautiful word. Interestingly, it has a connection with Sri Lanka. Its origin derives from the word serendip, the name that Arab merchants gave to this resplendent island. I'm sure you will agree with me that having the 58th CPC here and now in Sri Lanka is indeed serendipitous. Serendipitous because we have the opportunity to witness the rejuvenation, reinvigoration, and rebirth of a country that has risen phoenix-like from the ashes of violence and turmoil. Serendipitous because we in the CPA must also renew and progress in the first year of our second century. Sri Lanka finds itself in the spotlight in a happier way than for many years. Sri Lanka could indeed be seen as inspirational. It is one of the most literate countries in the emerging world, an economy that has grown at an average of 8% over the last few years, low unemployment, expanding industries in IT, nanotechnology and banking. Tourism is booming and exports are strong. Sri Lanka has a lot to be proud of, but surely its greatest pride should come from peace. It is peace which has driven this momentum of change, and it is peace which must continue, not as an unusual novelty, but as a way of life. Hopefully, that the momentum that is driving Sri Lanka forward under the government of President Rajapaksa should inspire us, because we too, in the CPA, must move ahead in renewal and reinvigoration. This week, we, as parliamentarians, clerks, and observers, will come together as equals in various fora such as workshops and regional meetings. We will talk about issues on topics covering health, education, youth unemployment, foreign policy, gender issues, and a particular interest for me, the role of parliamentarians in conflict resolution and peace building. Here today, in this magnificent hall, you probably feel, you realize like me, that you wish to engage, network, learn, and listen to the diversity of experience, knowledge, and expertise that is around us. The true purpose of CPA comes out when one sees representatives from all over the Commonwealth, stretching over 5 continents, coming together, respecting each other, talking with each other, learning from each other. Let us resolve that in this week, in the delightful setting that we have been given in Sri Lanka, let us give it full meaning, here and in the years ahead. And remember always that what we have in common is what binds us together.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sir. Delegates, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on this very special occasion, we now present a musical interlude performed by the Sri Lanka Navy Orchestra. I'm sure we can put our hands together and give them a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa, President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka, is the Vice Patron of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. President Mahinda Rajapaksa is the 5th President of the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka and assumed his second term of office on the 19th of November 2010. President Mahinda Rajapaksa was first elected to Parliament in 1970, and his illustrious political career includes many ministerial portfolios. He was the leader of the opposition in 2002 and Prime Minister in 2004, prior to beginning his first term as President in November 2005. Ladies and gentlemen, His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa is recognized as the leader who eliminated terrorism from Sri Lanka and achieved lasting peace, security, and stability in the country. We now invite His Excellency Mahinda Rajapaksa to address the gathering.
Honorable Speaker of the Parliament of Sri Lanka and President of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference, the Association, Secretary General of the Commonwealth, and the members of the head table, Excellencies, members of the CPA, distinguished delegates, and honored guests. Dear friends, As the current Vice Patron of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, I am pleased to welcome all delegates to this 58th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference in Colombo, and honored to address you on this occasion. This is an organization with a long and distinguished history in the annals of modern democracy. It was begun in 1911 as the Empire Parliamentary Association, when the British Empire was at the height of its strength, when the sun never set upon it. Later, as the success of the key freedom movements from imperialism and colonialism succeeded, as in India and Sri Lanka, then Ceylon, it was changed to the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, as we know it today. Sri Lanka has one of the earliest members of the CPA. Is glad to host this important international parliamentary conference for the third occasion. It is also important to recall that Sri Lanka is among the members of the CPA having one of the oldest traditions in parliamentary democracy, being the first country in Asia to have universal franchise from as far back as 1931. We have continued this tradition of parliamentary democracy through the past 81 years, protecting it from those who plotted against it, both in uniform and through insurrections. More recently, we protected our democratic system and the democratic right of all our people against what has been correctly described as the most ruthless terrorist organization in the world. At a time of clashes between democracy and terror, we have shown the world that terrorism can be effectively defeated, and the cherished values of democracy restored to people who were denied it for nearly 3 decades. Distinguished guests, you are meeting here today just 2 days after democratic elections were successfully conducted to 3 provincial councils in the country. And you may be observing how the people have freely expressed their choice. Sri Lanka's long traditions of parliamentary democracy has seen governments changed via the ballot, and constitutions been similarly changed and amended. It is also noteworthy that among the first things done after the defeat of terrorism, first in the eastern province and later the entire country, was to quickly hold local government, provincial and national elections to obtain a proper mandate from the people, large sections of whom were deprived of their franchise by the forces of terror. In fact, I myself sought a second term in office even before the expiry of my first term to obtain a truly national mandate, because the terrorists whose agents are still alive, still active in some part of the world, denied many people in the north and east the right to vote. The first time I sought the presidency in November 2005, I will also hold the elections to the Northern Provincial Council next year, upholding the principles of democracy. The many successful aspects of post-conflict developments have drawn much attention to Sri Lanka, especially the speed with which nearly 300,000 internally displaced persons were resettled. Another important aspect has been the efforts at national reconciliation after a bloody conflict that dragged on the nearly 3 decades. It took less than 2 years from the end of the conflict to set up the Lessons Learned and Reconciliation Commission, LLRC. It was to learn from the lessons from the conflict, understand how we could avoid such situations again, provide justice to those who had been affected, and most importantly, seek the path of reconciliation as a nation through our own experience. The recommendations of the LLRC are already being implemented according to a well-worked out plan of action that we have presented to the nation and the world. Excellencies, members of the head table, honoured guests, with our undoubted commitment to parliamentary democracy, we have a keen interest in the work and progress of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Your efforts to promote parliamentary democracy by enhancing knowledge and understanding of democratic governance and interest in building an informed parliamentary community among the members of member nations has our strongest support. The many educational programs on parliamentary practice and procedure, the efforts at studying matters of regional importance in the development of democracy, the study of democratic systems in the world's smallest nations, the efforts to train knowledgeable and efficient parliamentary staff are all in keeping with the goal of strengthening democracy in the world. A matter of special importance is the work of the Commonwealth women parliamentarians to increase female representation